engineer, currently working at the Kenya Electricity Transmission Company Limited as a transmission systems planning engineer. I'm passionate about mentorship and women empowerment, and that's why I'm a volunteer STEM mentor with a number of networks. So I encourage women to chase their dreams and explore the endless possibilities in this world. So welcome to the My Lady Engineering Experience Forum. It's a forum that is just aimed at sharing our experiences as ladies in the engineering space. So it's in this forum where recent graduates, engineering students across the diverse engineering fields can also interact with lady engineers who are already working in the sector or who have a number of years experience in the sector. So we are going to share our experiences, and you realize that as engineers, we share the same challenges despite the diversity in our engineering fields, and that's what we are going to learn from our guest speakers. So this forum is aimed at learning. It's a learning forum. It's a forum where we are able to better our journey or to share perspectives and insights that will make us better our journey in the engineering space. And thank you. So ladies, as you continue joining, I can see so many other ladies joining. So I want to just give an overview of this forum and the idea behind this forum. And as you can see on your screens, I believe most of us can see the screen. We have the My Lady Engineer Experience Forum, and as I said initially, it's just a platform to share our diverse experiences as ladies so that we can leverage on these experiences to be able to empower each other and to learn from each other. And so to the next slide, Warren. Yeah, did you know that female students and employees are underrepresented in the engineering fields? I know most of us young engineers or young lady engineers already know this. Women account for less than 20% in the engineering workforce, not just in Kenya, but globally. Less than a third of female students choose to study higher education courses in engineering. So this is quite a small number in the pool of female students. And despite the gender perceptions, we know all the gender perceptions surrounding engineering for women and stereotype threats, studies show that one of the major barriers is lack of mentorship. Next slide, Warren. So what do we do to be able to overcome this one barrier? There's so many barriers, but today I just want to focus on the lack of mentorship. So we need to help each other as women in the engineering space. We need to support each other. We need to seek and offer advice where needed. We need to also offer guidance to each other as we pursue our careers and also as we pursue career growth in this engineering sector. And also we need to empower each other, and we know that you are empowered as a woman so that you can empower others. We are also called to inspire each other, to motivate each other in this journey. And as you can see, is nobody got there alone. So even the engineering, the lady engineers that you see in big positions, in positions of leadership, in influential positions, never got there alone. There were so many women who supported them to be able to get to those positions. Next slide. So why the My Lady Engineer Experience Forum? First, as I talked, that one of the major barriers is the lack of mentorship. This is an e-mentoring platform, and as you can see, e-mentoring means that we are This has been enabled by the digital technology. We are connecting on Zoom. So this is an e-mentoring platform where we're just able to connect as women in the engineering space. To share our another aim of this forum is to share our diverse lady engineer experiences. And as we said that we have a diverse of experiences, and it's a forum also where lady engineers share their stories. And you know, there's power in your story. Your story is your power. And I always say never underestimate the power of your story, because you never know who it impacts or you never know who it inspires. So it's also a platform to share our stories. It's also a platform to promote engineering as exciting, inclusive, and rewarding, despite the challenges that we face as lady engineers. It's a platform to highlight diverse opportunities that exist for women engineers. So we are able to not just share our experiences, but also share opportunities that are there in the engineering space. It's an avenue for educational and professional guidance. You're able to, if you're a student, you're able to interact with your fellow students, where you can share your educational journey and also learn from the journeys of lady engineers who have gone before you. We can also learn from each other as young professionals in the engineering space. So educational and professional guidance is also key for this platform or this forum. Then it's also an opportunity for networking. And that's why I'm encouraging you to keep interacting with each other in the chat section, that we can also foster networking and engagement. Next slide, Warren. So what was the inspiration behind the My Lady Engineer Experience Forum? If I can echo the words of Laila Gifty Akita, every great achiever is inspired by a mentor. So we hope to be mentors to ladies who just graduated, or just lady engineers who are still in universities or colleges, or just the technical institutes doing engineering. Then there is every girl, no matter where she lives, deserves the opportunity to develop the promise inside of her. I am an example of what is possible when girls from the beginning of their lives are loved and nurtured by people around them. I was surrounded by extraordinary women in my life who taught me about quiet strength and dignity. And we all know those are the words of Michelle Obama. So we want to surround fellow lady engineers who are students and also recent graduates, so that they can be also extraordinary in the engineering space. So next slide. So remember, when women support each other, incredible things happen, and this is what we are doing here. We just want to support each other and feel free. Each voice matters in this space. Don't be afraid of interacting, whether you're a student, whether you're a recent graduate, whether you're a young professional in engineering. Just feel free to interact, because you know we have all come across all these stages of life in our career, and we just need to have an interactive section. So thank you so much. Our last slide is a thank you slide. And I hope that our interaction and our meeting and the experiences from our guests as speakers will be of help to each one of us here. So thank you. And I want to take this opportunity to ask Warren now if we can do the poll. Then I would really, really appreciate. And also have experience in different sectors of the economy, working in different sectors and in different engineering fields. Let me reiterate that, you know, if the guests are not representing your engineering field, that does not mean that we did not consider you. We did. As I said initially, we all share similar challenges, and we are planning to have more of these forums, and even forums that are engineering specific. For example, a civil forum, an electrical forum, where we can be able to interact more with engineers in the same space. So don't feel discouraged or feel like you are not considered because the panelists are civil and mechanical and and electrical. We are all together, we are all engineers, and I believe we are going to learn from their experiences because they're general experiences. And if I can say, the reason for this poll is for me to be able to understand how is the representation how the representation is in this forum, especially for the first meeting, which is also a learning point. So don't worry, don't shy away from doing from giving your feedback in the poll. The first poll is whether you're a student or a recent graduate or already having some experience in the energy space. So I think it's on your screens, and I would appreciate if we are able to give you answer to that. Engineering students are 44.9 for those who voted. We have recent graduates at 30.4% and lady engineer with work experience at 26.1%. Thank you for your voting. Maybe we can just continue to the second poll where we want to know how the representation is from the different engineering fields. We have our guest speakers. We have Mary Wambugu, who is a civil engineer. We have Teresia Njoki, who is also a civil engineer. We have Felistas Aera Misiko, who is an electrical engineer. And we have Lilian Motongori, who is a mechanical engineer. Thank you so much, ladies. I know you can, you are so happy to be in this space. And I'm so grateful to you for accepting to join this forum as speakers. You are all coming to this forum with a rich background, a professional and educational background that I believe the students who have joined and the recent graduates would be able to appreciate. So thank you so much. So thank you so much for those who have voted and just willing to give information. I really, really appreciate that. And now over to our speakers. I hope you're ready. And I want to start. With Lilian Motongori. Kindly introduce yourself. Just give us highlights of your educational and professional journey. Lilian.
Hello, hi everyone. Sorry for waving. I don't know why I keep waving as if it's a physical meeting, but hey, my name is Lilian Mutongori Jamunga. I'm a mechanical and production engineering. Actually, it's not just mechanical. There is mechanical and production engineering. So I'm a mechanical and production engineer from the University of Eldoret. Currently, I have experience in the energy industry, but I am trying to move out from the energy industry and get into other industries within the engineering field, which hopefully we will get to talk about it in the meeting. And I am also a Tech Women Emerging Leader 2019. I am a Women in African Power Fellow 2019. I am a Booking.com Technology Playmaker Award finalist for this year, 2020. So that's a bit of what I do. I do consultancy in the renewable energy field and do a bit of projects within that involve mechanical engineering. And I hope to discuss more in this meeting. Thank you, Winfred.
Wow, thank you, Lilian, for that great introduction. And indeed, you're a phenomenal young engineer. So, Felistas, you're next, if you can hear me, Felistas.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you. Hi, everyone. My name is Felistas Aera Misiko. I love using my 3 names. So, yeah, I am an electrical engineer with experience in the energy for 6 years. I am a graduate of the University of Nairobi, Department of Electrical Engineering, and I went ahead and completed my master's in electrical and computer engineering, majoring in energy systems at Carnegie Mellon University. where I was a MasterCard Foundation scholar. I was able to study both in Rwanda campus and the US campus in Pittsburgh. I'm also in the energy sector. I work for KETRACO as a transmission system planning engineer, where I have worked since 2014. And in that role, I've been taking part in several planning across the sector in the country. And I'm happy and glad to discuss more about that as we proceed.
Thank you, Felicitas, for the introduction. And yes, I work with Felicitas at KETRACO. We are both in the same department. We studied in the same university. And yes, we have a lot of similarities with Felicitas. So Teresia, over to you.
Hi guys, hi ladies, sorry. My name is Teresia Njoki. I'm a civil engineer from Moi University. I've majored in 3 fields, that is structures, water, and now I'm in roads. I'm currently at Kenya National Highways Authority, that is KENHA. This is where I've practiced for the past 3 years. I am very passionate about mentorship. I'm a board member for various schools in our village, where I mentor students, especially in the category of education. I'm also very passionate about giving back to the society. And one of the major projects I've handled in the past is I was a project engineer for the Northern Collector Tunnel. I was majorly involved in the site works, and I'm looking forward to learn both from the panelists and from the other members. You can see in the charts. And yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresia, for the introduction. Yes, as you saw in the poll, civil engineers are well represented in this forum, so I'm sure they are eager to also learn a lot from you. Mary, I'm not sure if Mary has joined. Mary Wambugu, if she's there.
Thank you. I've been unmuted
Okay.
by the host. I wasn't able to unmute myself previously.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. As you've heard, my name is Mary Wambogo. I am a civil engineer by training, studied at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. I have a master's degree in water and waste engineering from Loughborough University in the UK. Professionally, I've worked in structures and water, working both in private consulting and in the government parastatal with Athi Water Services Board, which is now called, I think, Athi Water Works Development Agency. Currently, I am slowly transitioning and sort of moving away from the very hardcore engineering aspect. I work now in a field called water, sanitation, hygiene, that's WASH. So I'm working in humanitarian work with NGOs in the sector. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mary, for giving us an overview of your educational and professional journey. And please, speakers, don't shy away from talking about all your achievements, because I know the recent graduates and the engineering students really, really want to learn from you. And because maybe I know most of you, in case you miss something, I'll be there to say what that is. So thank you so much so far. So I'll go back to Lillian, and maybe I'll ask you, Lillian, maybe in very briefly, why did you pursue engineering?
Okay. For me, the reason why I pursued engineering, I think it started from high school when we were always told, oh, if you're passing so well, like the kind of professions that they would advise us to go to was either engineering or get into medicine. I loved sciences. I loved maths and sciences. So I always knew I would get into either engineering or get into medicine. So that's why I really wanted to pursue engineering. But sadly, after university, I was actually called to do animal science. I was called to do animal science in campus through the GSSP program because I had never revised my courses. You know, if you don't revise your courses, they give you just anything as long as you pass. So I was called to Chepkoilal. I didn't even know that university at the moment. And then I went there. I realized that you could actually change your courses, and there was engineering there as long as you've qualified to do it, still on GSSP. So I managed to change my course, and that's how I got to do mechanical engineering. Even though I really didn't know much about engineering, but that's how I actually got into engineering. I wanted to do something that I was wondering, why aren't there so many women in this field, and what is so hard about it, yet sciences seemed good in high school, or rather when I was still in school. So it was more of to challenge myself, and also to pursue something that I had always been told, oh, engineering is really so much fun. Yeah.
Wow, that's a good explanation of why you pursued engineering, and I'm glad to applaud you for actually thriving in the sector. So, Felistas, why did you pursue engineering? Very briefly.
I think just like Lillian, I did engineering because first of all, I passed. So I had options of taking any courses I want. But in high school, I always gravitated towards mathematics and sciences. And I always enjoyed, especially my physics classes. I had this physics teacher who always like pushed me, and I was the best in physics. So I really gravitated towards that. And I took even extra practicals in high school, and I started enjoying it. Coming from a village where we didn't have electricity, I didn't really understand why it was so hard to get electricity back into the village. And that's why I tend to go towards electrical engineering. To say the truth, I didn't understand much about civil engineering. I didn't understand any about major other engineering, but I knew about electricity. So I was like, why don't we have this electricity back in our village? And that's how I got into electrical. I applied and I got admitted. And I feel like it was the best decision I ever made.
Yes, I also believe it was, seeing you now, and I'm sure so many students and recent graduates can identify to your story. Teresia, why did you pursue civil engineering?
I honestly was very lost when I was choosing a career to choose to take. So I roamed around business. I wanted to do everything. I'm a person who takes a lot of time to decide what they want. But then I like hard things. I like tough things. I like to convince or to prove to myself that I can do hard things. And so I was just trying to look at the technical courses that can fit someone who likes to think a lot and to solve problems. And that is how I chose engineering. And I really wanted to go to the University of Nairobi. I remember I was crying when all of my friends were taken to go to the University of Nairobi, and I was the only one who was taken to do engineering at Moi University. But looking back, that was one of the best decisions I ever made. I don't know if I would ever fit in any other field. I love this field, and engineering is my passion. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, thank you, Teresia. And indeed, engineering is a problem-solving career, and you just mentioned that. Mary, why did you pursue engineering briefly?
Like several accounts that it was, you are a good student and you pass well. So initially I wanted to be a doctor until I went to high school, and biology was not my strong suit in any way. So what was the next best alternative for a student who's above average? Engineering. And like Felicitas has shared, I remember someone asking me, okay, what engineering do you want to do? And I had no idea there was kinds of engineering. So they asked me, do you want to be a civil engineer? I said, yes, because it was the first thought I had. I said, yes, I want to be a civil engineer. And I just followed that track, coming to fill in the university application, civil engineer, even if I had no idea what that was about. But looking back, I can say it was a wonderful coincidence because it's a field that I enjoyed, that I came to love, and I can apply my strengths in. Yeah.
Wow, Mary, I love the fact that you said you love a field that you love, and we'll learn more about that. And now back to you, Lillian. How has been your experience in the engineering space? And if you can let also the participants know, what do you think has been your greatest achievement as a lady engineer so far in your career?
Okay, so for me, I would say, as I said, I went to do mechanical engineering. In as much as I had no idea anything about mechanical engineering, I did pursue the field. I always tell everyone who we were studying with that I was doing it to just do my exams, finish my exam, at least have that paper that I have an engineering certificate. And then I went to Warminge Fellowship. I don't know if any of the participants has applied for any Warminge Fellowship, but I know Stella. We went with Stella Murugu, who's part of the participants there. She was one of the members. She was one of the participants during the fellowship. So we went for the Warminge Fellowship, and there were so many women who are doing engineering. It was actually the first time I was in a room where there's a diverse group of women who are doing engineering. And we were given so many challenges to solve. Maybe it was a challenge of water, contaminated water, or a challenge of whether it's sound, noise. So because there was a diverse group of people in that team, you were supposed to like solve a problem with that, with what you've studied from in school. Just look for a solution of how you'll solve that problem as an engineer. So it was when I realized there's actually a reason to why I'm in this field. And even as a woman, as an engineer in this field, I got to understand I didn't just go to school to just get that paper. There's so many problems in this world that are there to solve. And how are we supposed to solve these problems? We're supposed to solve them through what we've learned in school. And it was then where I got to even I would think of the things that we are learning when it comes to acoustic emissions, vibrations, and all that kind of stuff. And I realized how diverse mechanical is, so big, and how many problems are there in this world that women are actually supposed to, we feel these problems, but if only we had the knowledge that we have right now within this field, we would be able to solve so many problems in this world. And I understood the reason why we actually need more women engineers. When it comes to food security, what problems can you as an engineer help in solving food security? What problems can you as an engineer help in solving water problems? Even the water pumping system, that was something that was invented by an engineer. Imagine if we didn't have a water pump, how will we be having water within our households? So, and that is when I actually got to understand the purpose for why I'm actually doing engineering. I had planned to go pursue other things, maybe get to work, and I would probably be one of those people who I hear they exist, such people who always just go to offices, they get money, contracts and all that, something is not even really working. So I would have probably be one of those people, because when you don't understand the reason why you're somewhere, or the role of your work in the society, then you tend to not be even serious about it. So I got an opportunity. That time I was very active on LinkedIn. So I got an opportunity to meet with people who actually mentored me, who enabled me to work together with them. I asked someone, oh, what project are you working on? How can I help in that project? And I was still a student. So they told me, oh, this is the project I'm working on. We want to start up this thing in Kenya. It was actually someone who was outside Kenya. A guy was totally outside Kenya. And I asked him, would you want to implement this project in Kenya? I want to help you do this and this and this. And that's how they had me on board. So when I got an opportunity to go and speak in Med, and then I came back in Kenya, they were like, you know what, since you're done with school, why don't you be a Kenyan person? And that's how I finished school. I was just hired as a consultant, not a mechanical engineer, I know there are legal procedures for you to be a consultant in Kenya, an engineering consultant in Kenya, but now they hired me because it was a firm that is outside Kenya. They actually hired me to be their consultant in Kenya. And for me, I take that as a privilege because not everyone actually gets that opportunity. And that, from there, I got to be mentored with that person. I got to do a lot of projects with that person. So many opportunities came even from there. And for me, I can say my greatest achievement has been in seeing my work helping the communities that I've been working in, whether it's in Turkana, whether it's in Marsabit, in the rural areas that I've been in, the solutions that I've helped in solving in those communities, that I can say has been my greatest achievement. And I would specifically say one, when I was back in Marsabit, I went to one of the hospitals in the community I was supposed to do my project in. And there were women who are actually, the hospital had solar panels. They had been donated 4 solar panels kwa sababu stima is not in that area. So it's very off grid, kule illiterate. So when those solar panels were not working, there was never maintenance that was done on them. You know the way this international organization puts up projects, then they just go, they say, oh, we've done this, we've put up solar for them, that is up to them. So they've not trained anyone on how to do maintenance on those things, whether it's batteries and all that kind of stuff. So none of those things were working. And imagine there are women who are coming there, they are pregnant women, there's a maternity ward there, they're coming there, they have to use torches to help those people. If only those women just knew how to do maintenance on their solar, the solar home system that has been set up in the hospital. So I can say my greatest achievement was having to work with those people, help them to know how to even do that maintenance, because now that is a community with around 20, the hospital is serving around 20,000 people. I helped them even in their drainage areas. We had some students within our research institute from the US. They helped us in setting up their drainage areas. So, and now seeing it work, and I can see women who are being helped out of the technical skills I gained from school. That is even more of an achievement than any award I've ever gotten, because I know there's a woman who's going to be helped there who is pregnant, and probably they will have not seen well when she's giving birth at night, but now they will have light, their drainage system is working, they will have water and all that. So that has been my greatest achievement within my engineering field.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing, Lillian. And I'm glad to just maybe summarize that your lady engineering experience has been fulfilling because you're able to see the impact that your solutions as a lady engineer, or whatever project that you do as a lady engineer, the impact it has in the community. So if you have any questions, please kindly write in the chat box as we even proceed. I can see persistently raised hand, and I would want to know, Christine Muli, kindly just if you can tell us, because it has been persistently up. I don't want to ignore that.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Christine.
I'm sorry, I did that mistakenly, but
No,
I have
okay.
questions, but I'll ask later when you allow us to ask questions.
Okay, I just thought it was so persistent, so I did not want to ignore.
No,
Okay,
it was a mistake, sorry.
Thank you. Okay, over to you, Felicitas. How has been your lady engineering experience, and what has been your greatest achievement so far?
Okay. For me, my experience has been really fulfilling. Having graduated from the University of Nairobi without really knowing how to proceed and how to get into the sector. You know, the way it's hard in Kenya to get a job, or even to get someone to listen to, even to interview you. And then having worked in a field that I wasn't really into, because I started working as an intern at British American Tobacco. I worked there for 6 months, and then I left, and I worked at Equity Bank as a project. So I used to do a lot of bank expansion projects, and that's not something I really wanted until I joined Ketraco in 2014. And I started working in the energy sector, in the electricity sector that I really wanted to work in. And working in the public sector is something that I found really fulfilling, because now I immediately joined and started working in projects across the country. System expansion projects. We go to the villages where there's no power. We go to off-grid areas where we have to do planning and expansion projects. And just having that full view of the energy problem in Kenya, from the consumption part even to the generation section, and trying to sit down and discuss with the colleagues and the teams at KETRACO, and being able to offer solutions that are long-term for the country. And at the end of it, having been able to see through a project from inception to completion, and going back to these communities and being able to see how these projects have been really helpful, is something that I really feel as an achievement in my part. Because when you are outside this sector, you always talk about how there's no improvement, there's no power, there's nothing happening in the country. But when you are inside now and you have been tasked with that opportunity to be able to make impactful change and be able to be part of the teams that are involved in these projects across the country, I feel it's been a very fulfilling experience. And I just don't have the right words to put it, but yes, it's been a great achievement for me.
Wow, Felicitas. I think when you were speaking, I think you also spoke about my experience, because as I said, we are in the same space. And Felicitas, allow me to say that, I don't know if you mentioned this, Felicitas was also recently appointed to the KEBS Technical Committee. Maybe you can tell us about this, maybe for just a few seconds.
Oh, okay. I knew you'd bring that up, but as part of my role in KETRACO in the planning sector, in the planning department, we do sector-wise planning for the country, and I'm involved in several committees to be able to just represent KETRACO and the country at large. So in some of these committees, I was appointed as a KEBS to represent KETRACO in the KEBS, so that we be able to put a voice on, because as a transmission utility, we also have to agree on how this renewable energy that is really growing across the country is going to be utilized. And we are supposed to put the right infrastructure to be able to evacuate this power to the right communities and to the right, the people who need it. So as my role in the committee, just to represent the KETRACO and to represent the views of the people on how this should be done the right way. And I'm also involved with other planning committees across the sector, including the Least Cost Power Development Plan, where it's a sector-wise committee that is headquartered at EPRA. So through this, I'm able to make a meaningful impact in the country.
Yeah, thank you so much, Felicitas. And I want just the recent graduates and the students to understand that, you know, you thrive, there's a way of thriving in this sector, especially if you have lady engineers like our guest speakers, and also the lady engineers who have joined this meeting as professionals who are willing to hold our hands and to win together in this space. So Teresia, if you can just give us your experience and your achievement, maybe briefly, we will also appreciate.
My journey has not been easy, but it has not been tough. It has been a roller coaster and an in-between. Because I remember very well, I had a very tough choice, a very tough period when choosing like which field to major in. Because when I left campus, I joined a structural firm, but I couldn't find fulfillment. I'm a person who finds fulfillment in what they do, because I want that at the end of the day, I want to feel like I have achieved something. And not because that structures is bad for those in civil engineering in this Zoom, but everyone has that thing that, you know, sparks their soul. And then I went to water, and I didn't have that, you know, that zeal even to wake up, and because I was not that much motivated, because it was not a passion that I was interested in. But one of the major projects that I handled there, they really gave me a good time, like that Northern Collector Tunnel. I enjoy going to site. That is my best experience being in civil engineering is going out there and solving problems. I enjoyed entering into that tunnel. Even if I was not doing anything, I just enjoyed just staying there like it was a house. I just wish, sometimes I used to say, I wish I could live here. And then I left water. That time I was in the Water Services Board. I think Mary has said she was also there, but I think we missed each other. And then I joined Kenha, where I'm a roads engineer. I enjoy doing work in roads. And that came from my experience in campus because I used to enjoy those subjects in roads. Like, those people from my university, you know, like, nilikuwa napenda kusoma, but when it comes to specifically transportation or highway courses, I used to admire, I used to really like them. Nilikuwa nafika class mapema sana. And so one of my major achievements, or what I'd say I've achieved using my engineering knowledge, is that by the virtue of that, I like giving back. I love working with my society back in the village. And I think I've mentioned I'm a board member in various schools. And when it comes to development projects in the schools, because I'm normally the youngest and the only engineer and the only lady engineer, I'm able to assist the committees to design classes, you know, CWAS, all those things, because already I've had a bit of experience in both. If there are access roads, so I help them. And my main goal is actually to have as many schools as possible to welcome me in as a board member. And if not as a board member, I'd like to help schools to build classes, because when we are going to sites, especially I've gone to sites now ndani kabisa, you see, like when you try to visit like schools, there are no classes. And so that is one of the things that I've been able to do. The other one is to also help the communities to drill water, to survey their sites, and to do geotechnical service. Yeah, so I love doing that. So apart from being in a very hard field, I love enjoying giving back to my society back at home. Thank you.
Wow, that is so rewarding. Even the passion as you speak. I saw someone in the comments say that is so much passion about working in tunnels that you would wish even to stay in a tunnel. I think someone wrote such a comment. So Mary, we would want to hear from you. How has been your experience, and what do you think has been your greatest achievement?
I feel like Teresia and I are the same person, just different different names, because it's a very similar. It's very similar. I started out in structures because where I started working, I had been interning there, I think in my final year of university. So I remember my boss, at that time, calling me when I was in my final year, because I did the internship just before I went to my final year. So my boss would call me and ask me, "Are you finished with school? When are you coming to work for us? Are you finished with school? Now, when are you coming to work for us?" So I was fortunate enough in that aspect to land a job immediately after finishing my undergraduate studies. And because that was what was available, I went into structural engineering. But just like Teresia, I found that it was not what my calling was. It did not tug at my strings. Not to say that structures is bad. In fact, I will say structures is a very good foundation for a civil engineer to have. So after working there for 2 years, I had always been passionate about water engineering. Even from undergrad, I chose it as my major, and I really, really wanted an opportunity in water engineering. So after 2 years in structures, like I said, I got the opportunity to, 2 years in structures, and then I think about a year doing structures, but independently. After now 3 years, I went and joined Water, and I was so happy to finally be in water engineering. And yeah, I just immersed myself in it, in everything. It was so interesting, you know, going to site places far and wide, learning where our water, as people living in Nairobi, for those in Nairobi, where your water comes from, what does it involve to bring clean water to your taps, you know. And I was so intrigued by all of this. And just like Lillian and everyone else has said, the main striking point for me for pursuing water engineering is I was meeting a need that you are seeing what people need and you are addressing that need. And that's just what sold me to water engineering. So that was an awesome experience. Then I decided to further my education, and that's when I left ATHI and went to pursue my master's, and then now came back with a different view of water engineering to what is now, like I said, water sanitation and hygiene. So in that regard, I have transitioned a bit away from the design aspects of water engineering, and now I'm more in the community aspects of developing water and waste systems. But all in all, it has been an amazing experience. My greatest achievement, it's a bit, I'm finding it a bit too hard to answer it in terms of greatest, because there are a lot of great achievements overall. But I'll like Lillian said, any opportunity to meet a need is such a great achievement in itself. And I'll just echo that, what she said. So any opportunities that I've gotten to meet a need by, whether I'm in my desk, drawing a design, or whether I'm in the field inspecting something, I just find fulfillment that this is going to help somebody ultimately. But if I'm to be very specific, I remember once while at ATHI Water, we had been, myself and a colleague, we were told to go to site. It was one of those projects where a consultant had not yet been procured, but the contractor is on site. So there needs to be supervision, to some extent design. So myself and my colleague, also a lady engineer, we were told, okay, now go to site. You guys are the interim consultants. Everything you decide. And it was a huge task, because to some extent you are not exactly sure what you're going to do. But we said, you know what, we'll go and we're going to learn. And of course, we had the support of the other senior engineers, even though they were majorly in the office and we were in the field, they did offer their support. So we went and we did that project, just the two of us with the contractor. Of course, with the ups and downs, you're all aware, that go on between consultant and contractor and client. But there was a time, because it was a World Bank funded project. So what the World Bank does is, from time to time, they will come and they will audit the project and see how far you are. So at that point, the consulting engineer had been procured, and we were slowly handing over to him to continue with the project. And so we met on site, the incoming consulting engineer, us as the interim consultants, just the two of us, me and my colleague, and the World Bank auditor, and of course the other representatives from ATHI Water. And so we took him through the project. This is what we've done so far. This is how many kilometers of pipe we've laid. This is what we've constructed so far. Ultimately, of course, the project was not, 100%, but at the end of it, when he wrote his report, I remember one of his final recommendations, he said it was very encouraging and commending to see two female engineers taking charge of this project and doing an amazing job. And not to say that I required the approval of somebody to, to find validation, but it just affirmed that you are doing well, and you are working well in your sector. Yes, thanks.
Wow, Mary, that is amazing. And I'm actually inspired by your stories and your experience, ladies, especially the fact that you're also able to be, responsible enough to even, be able to deliver projects, and not just small projects, but projects that have great impacts to the community, and not just to the community, but to the country. And I'm sure all the recent graduates and the engineering students who are here can see that, as ladies, we are able to have these responsibilities in our hands and be able to do our work well. And we are just as equal to the task as men, because Maria said that she has led projects, Felicitas has said the same, Lillian has said the same, Teresia has said the same. So that is so encouraging, and I'm so inspired. And this is not to say that the engineering space or as lady engineers that we don't face any challenges. So I'll go back to Lillian and I'll ask you, what maybe can you say has been your main setback or challenge as a lady engineer? Lillian?
Hello.
Yes.
So for me, one of the major challenges I can say I faced is, and something that I want every woman who's an engineer and gets to join the industry, and not the what is it called, especially the private, not the public institutions. I mean the private institutions, the private organizations that are not related to government, non-governmental organizations. I think it's being used. That is one of the major challenges you face. Oh my God. And I want to be very clear with every student who's out there. It is nice to come out here to do volunteer work sometimes. It's nice when you do it for a while, but also there gets to be limit on how you can use people. I don't know. I know it's a challenge that is facing almost every graduate out there. You come out of here with an expectation people will actually pay for your skill. Sometimes even give your all to an organization. You really, 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 really give your all. And people love taking. Institutions, organizations, workplaces, they love taking as long as you're doing it. They don't have empathy to feel, you know what, we've had enough. It's time to pay this person the skill that the work that they're doing. You will be doing everything. You're marketing for them. You're putting their name out there. And let me tell you, they don't care. They really don't care. And I'm so glad that even in this industry that I've met women who are also going through the same challenges with me. You think it's all rosy. It is not all rosy just because people are working in an organization. So yes, when you come out of school, you'll do volunteer work. It's good to do that, but know their limits. And there are people who do not care. They really do not care. You can do everything for them. You'll be doing that when all they are doing is to just come and sit and do everything, and yet they will not pay you enough. They will take a lot of money. They will get a lot of money. What they are getting out of them, I mean, it's work. And I'm so glad that I got to meet some people who would actually tell me, you know what? Put yourself first. Put yourself first. And I'm also, one thing I also love to say, that I love to appreciate the women who are in this, Kina Anwa, Shera. There are so many women who are out there that will help you know your value. They will really help you know your value. Sometimes you could be underselling yourself. You're doing projects, and that's why it's so important to ask, even when you get a job and you know a woman who's inside here, who's within the industry, ask them how much are they paying when they're starting. And you'll be surprised that some things, oh my God, you mean I used to accept this? You know, you probably you've come from a humble background. You think this is the norm, you know? And you know, as long as you've already accepted, you've already accepted. So what I want to tell students out there, when you come out here, even if you're going to volunteer, there are limits. There are limits. There are limits to that volunteer work. If you see now people are actually really not really seeing your value, then move regardless. So that is one of the challenges I also faced. Another challenge I can say that there is lack of mentorship. Sometimes you need that person who guides you and tells, oh, by the way, should I actually take this? What do you think I should do in this? This person gave me this opportunity. How should I go about it? How should I maximize this opportunity? It is so important to have that person who guides you in that. And having someone in the industry to guide you is very important. Another thing that I could say is in the industry, there's also sexual harassment in the industry. So many people, sometimes you get into meetings, you know, people will try to hit on you. They don't want to see the value in you. And then another thing that I will say that I guess it's with every woman in STEM, in any profession, in any STEM profession. When men do things, I'll give an example. For example, me, I worked in the automotive industry. I know how to repair cars. I know how to do maintenance in cars. So I will just give an example. When you do it, when you're a lady, and you actually, when it's something is spoiled and it's done, you get to repair it. They are like, I forgot that part. You are really appreciated by men. But when a guy does it, they'll be like, wow, you are a genius. You mean you know these things? You really know these things. So if you don't learn to blow your own trumpet, trust me, the men in the industry, it's like they feel embarrassed that, how do you know these things more than me? Or maybe they'll just say, if I forgot that part. When you fix something, they're like, I forgot that thing. I just didn't. Nilisahau, si ati ni wewe unajua. They will not praise you. So learn to praise yourself, because it's very, very rare for them to actually appreciate you. So apart from now that being used, knowing your value, getting a mentor, being underappreciated, you also learn that opportunities are not as open as that available as everyone makes it look like. Oh my goodness. There was a time I stayed for a while without getting opportunities. You have to learn to sell yourself. Go pitch yourself to other people. Learn to network with people who will give you these opportunities. Some jobs are just there, but they've already chosen people for themselves. I know they are saying, oh, there are so many few women in this industry. Oh my God, we are few, but they are not giving us jobs. We are few. I know of so many women who are in the engineering industry and they don't have jobs. So you wonder, why do you want us to come into this industry? They want us in this industry. Or if you're there, you're just props. You'll only be used for when there is meetings on gender issues, inclusivity issues. That is when they want to include you. Women in energy, all that kind of stuff that happens. But when it comes to the real topics within the industry, and I'm so glad to see Felicitas is now part of the technical committee of standards in KEBS that is representing KETRACO, because you'll find most of the time they will choose women to go and deal with gender issues. You are an engineer, they won't choose you for doing talking about technical topics. And sometimes you get tired of talking about this gender. Yes, it's important, but we are also here, we also studied. Why don't you put me to go and talk about standards? Why don't you put me to go and talk about mini grids? I'm tired of having to talk about women and women. Yes, it's important, but why do you have to only select men when they're talking about this? I also want to talk about the issues within this industry, if it's mini grids, if it's batteries, if it's all that kind. We don't want to just be props in the industry. We want to see value in what we've studied for. Yeah, I can say those are the other challenges. Maybe they may come up later, but I want you guys to prepare. The students who are here, don't think it's all rosy. It's not all rosy when you come out here. It's really not all rosy. And people are out to use you. They're out to use graduates. Kwanza, I hear it's so much in the government sector. I don't know, but even outside non-governmental organizations, they're out to use you. So prepare yourself and know their limits. There are limits to volunteer work. Yeah.
Wow, Lillian, I knew you would just give it as it is. And, I'm sure the students listening and the recent graduates, not to scare you, but I can say that is somehow the bitter truth. And I'm sure you are appreciating that Lillian is able to share her experience. It's not just something to take for granted that she's here to just share her experience. So I believe you're taking notes. Remember to share your LinkedIn profiles. Remember to connect with all the ladies in this space on LinkedIn. Remember to reach them even one-on-one if you feel that you need more advice or more insights from them. So I want to go to Felicitas. Felicitas, what has been your greatest setback and challenge as a lady engineer?
I am glad that Lillian has spoken before me, because she's really just summed up like the experience for most of us. And my biggest challenge as I just reiterate what she said, my biggest challenge has been being undervalued in the male-dominated space. So you find that sometimes you are working with in a sector or with people that feel like you have to prove yourself again and again. You came here qualified, even more than some of them, and you do your job well. But the fact that you are a woman, sometimes some roles are not even put out on the table for you. Some opportunities are not even availed to you. So sometimes you just hear this was happening, there's a meeting that was happening to discuss this and this, and no one involved you or no one informed you. Or sometimes you are told there's a meeting, but I want you to come because we just need to fulfill the third gender rule. So such statements make you feel like you don't really want my opinion or you don't want my input. You just want me to be there because I'm a woman so that you can say we've represented women in these meetings. And sometimes it's so demoralizing. Being women, we know that we thrive when you are praised and we thrive when someone is appreciating your work. But when you're working in somewhere where people don't really see that, I'm not saying everyone is like that. We find amazing people. You find some very nice male leaders or male bosses who will watch out for you and pull you up, but it's not everywhere that happens. So in such a scenario, you have to be really out there to speak out for yourself. And they will mention, they'll say words about you. They'll say you are too much. She's too bossy, or she's too loud. They will say all manner of words because as a woman, you're not supposed to, they make you feel like you're not supposed to bring out your best. And in such spaces, sometimes I've seen some women just like they die inside. And I would like to encourage you not to give up. So that's a huge challenge that I face and I've faced before, even in other workspaces. But yeah, you learn how to thrive through that. And another challenge that is close to me is you're supposed to work, like in my work setup, you're supposed to work most of the time out of home. And being women, we find we get families at some point. We get we're wives, we are mothers. And for me specifically, I'm a young mother. So being able to just every other time you have to leave your child and stay away for a week or two, it's a huge challenge. And no one forces you actually. They will tell you it is an option, you can decide to work from the office. But what do you have after that? You work in the office, you are a secretary. You will do the office work. People will go do the technical work and they will be sent reports to prepare. Is that what you really want to do? So sometimes you have to sacrifice, look at what you have to lose and what you have at the table. And you decide really, is this something I really want to do? Or can I do without it? Yeah, sometimes it's a huge, because if you really want to be involved in all aspects of your work or all aspects of your project, you have to be there from, like for me, I do a lot of feasibility studies. You have to go to site, collect the information. You have to meet people who are affected by projects, and you cannot do that in the office. And if you don't go, you will not be involved. And if you are not involved, opportunities will come, and because you are not there, no one will mention your name. So that's a huge challenge that we women face in the workspace in engineering.
Wow, thank you, Felicitas. And as I told the participants, when you hear Felicitas talk, she's also talking for me. I'll be able maybe to share my experience some other time, but we work in the same space, and what she says is true. Women are oftenly underestimated and underutilized. Our ideas are undervalued, and you wonder why, because sometimes even our ideas are much, much better than even those ideas that are brought by even our counterparts. So sometimes it's challenges that we have to face, and we have to agree to this. And I always say, and this is what I tell women, being underestimated actually is an asset for you, because those who underestimate you never see you coming. And that is how you break the glass ceiling. And you can see that women are doing great things. So if we are underutilized, we are undervalued, and we are even underestimated, and we are able to have all these achievements that you have had from these women, then how would it be if our value was taken seriously? So over to you, Teresia, to share your experience not share your experience, but your challenge and setback in the engineering space.
Thank you, Felicitas. My main challenge, especially when I was starting up, is to show up for myself and show up for my career. So sometimes you could find like, maybe you are told like, hey, tomorrow you're going to site. Then I'll start saying, maybe I'll start thinking, oh, you know, as girls, oh, sina viatu, my favorite site shirt is not clean. So I used to find myself like, even as we are saying that it is the other people that, so I used to like downplay myself. I used not to show up for myself. And truth be told, we spend most of our time at work, so you have to be on top of things, because that is the most time you spend during the day. Another thing I used to is to downplay my achievements, as Lillian said. Women have not been taught, or we are not used to, you know, talking about our achievements publicly. But for men, so especially for students, when you're coming out there, when you're going for an interview, say everything you have done, choke them with your successes. Like, say everything, like, from Z, I volunteered here, I did this. And especially if you have performed well in campus, if that is what is going to take for you to get that job, speak for yourself and speak up in confidence, because you'll find that most of our field is male dominated, yes. And if you're not given those opportunities to ourselves, sometimes you have to grab it. Sometimes I'll go to my boss and say, and give him a suggestion, can I do this, can I do? So sometimes, even as women, as you are playing the victim card, let's go for these opportunities, let's ask for these things, because it is very easy to be forgotten in a workplace. So sometimes you have to even in boardrooms, let your voice be heard. Give that comment, no matter how weak it is. Speak even if your voice is shaky. You have to ask for these things from these people, because if you are suffering from inside and you're not talking, you have to communicate to our bosses. You have to communicate to our leaders that this is how you would like it to be done. This is the structure you would like it to be put for young engineers, for ladies, because we have to speak up for ourselves. So as I was starting out, that was a major problem. And being a yes person, you're told to do this, you do this. So sometimes it's good to challenge even your boss. And I can be even, but you learned this, but you told me this. Engage, but you have to do it in a very nice way. You don't want to seem like you're arrogant or you're proud, but don't do things because they're told to do things. You know, you have to interrogate them. Even if you might seem like, hey, just do what you're supposed to do, but at the same time, don't do anything you're told to do, because it's your job. It's your job to design. You have to interrogate those designs. If it's not, if it's being over designs because someone else has an interest or something, you have to ask these questions. Another thing that I experience as a challenge is, of course, the harassment, especially when it comes to men. The way Lilian was saying, like, you are not given those big roles. So you're not given those opportunities, but when you're going for lunch, someone wants you to accompany them because, you know, the masculine ego, they want to feel like you're working with them, but you're not giving me those big tasks in the office. So let's learn to fight for ourselves, both in the office and when you go out there. And let's not downplay our achievement. If you got a first class and you're in an interview, you know that will save you. It will give you a competitive advantage amongst your peers. By all means, just say it. So those are the challenges I faced as a woman in this field. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Teresia. I can see hands that are being raised. I will come back to you. And we also have a section where some minutes where the recent graduates and students will be given a chance to ask questions. So just hold on. We are almost done with our interactive section with the speakers. So just be patient, and I appreciate that you're here even at this time. And yes, what you can see from what the ladies have talked about, the challenges, that they are almost similar, despite the fact that we are in different engineering fields. So Mary, I would appreciate if you would also give us any challenges and setbacks that you've faced.
Okay, thank you. Wow, such amazing stories. I'm also learning here as well. Thank you, Lilian, Teresia, and Felicitas, for sharing your experience. I'm actually being very edified. Without repeating, I mean, I agree with Lilian about job opportunities are challenging themselves. I know I've shared that I got an opportunity straight out of campus, but that hasn't always been the case in my journey. There are times like Lillian, I've been out of employment for a while looking, but nothing is coming forth. And that's when you have to sort of reinvent yourself and look at what you have to offer. But I won't repeat too much of that. So one of the challenges has been, like they have said, I'll call it sort of discrimination, but I'll talk about it in the aspect of not within within where you're working, but from outside people. So as an engineer, most times you will find yourself going to site meetings with other people from other organizations. And probably in your office, people have come to, you know, appreciate that, yes, you're a woman, yes, you're an engineer, but the other consultants from outside or the other stakeholders have not encountered a woman engineer for the first time. So they will assume that you are just accompanying these people, you know, you're an intern, you might even be the one leading the troop in that case, but there's that preconceived notion that you can't be the head of this mission because you're a woman. Just to share an interesting story, there was one time I remember we were going for a site meeting. It was in Moranga. And so in this case, I wasn't the one chairing the meeting, but I was accompanying a colleague. We were both going together with a colleague. It was a male colleague, so we were both going as the engineers, project engineers, although he was the lead. So anyway, we were going to Moranga for this site meeting. And as we were waiting for the rest of the team to arrive, one of the guys said, "Oh, we would like a cup of tea." And there was where we were going for the site, it's Niuko kwa Misitu, because that's where your water comes from. That's where it's abstracted from most times. So we needed some KWS rangers to accompany us during the field visit, of course, for purposes of security, because there's wild animals and all. So, but in this particular moment, we had not yet started. So we are just over there, you know, standing, interacting with each other at the site office. So, like I said, one person said, "Oh, we should have a cup of tea as we wait." So one of the KWS rangers turns to me and he looks at me and he says, "Go get for us tea." And then one of my colleagues had, and they asked him, "Unafanya nini? Kwa nini unatuma engineer?" You know? And he was so shocked and so apologetic at the same time. "Oh, pole sana, madam engineer." But I did not fault it against him, because it was not, he probably at that point was not doing it out of malice, but it is, can I call it ignorance to some extent, because probably that was his first time meeting a female engineer. He did not know maybe that, you know, this lady could be an engineer as well. So I don't hold it bitterly against him, but what it made me realize is that there's a lot of preconceived notions about being a woman and being an engineer out there that you are going to encounter every so often in your journey. But don't be discouraged. Like all the other amazing ladies have said, know your worth, know who you are. Do not be shy to say who you are and what you offer. The other challenge I want to touch on, I think it comes alongside what Felista said about being a woman and, you know, being, whether you're married or you're a mother. Right now I am neither, but one of my challenges as a woman has been, like all us women do, is menstruation when you're working. And please allow me to touch on this just briefly, because I was reading an article on The Nation, and I don't know if you all know Martha Wakoli. She had been interviewed. So she pointed it out, and I was like, yes, actually that is true. So what she was saying, just to reiterate, please go to read the article though, is that she said basically what she was saying is that for the field, in field work, there's no provision for Women matters menstruation. How do you menstruate, and how do you handle your menstruation while you're in the field? And not just the field, even at work sometimes, because there's also these accompanying symptoms that come. And if I'm going to be very personal, this has been a challenge of mine because I have these other accompanying symptoms that come with menstruation that may make it very hard to carry out your tasks. And at that point, you might feel like you are a weaker person because you might be limited at that point in doing a specific task. Maybe you've been sent to site, and it's going to be harder than it usually is on a regular day for you. But I can see someone saying Martha is actually here. That's amazing. I think as a woman, those are challenges that you're going to have. What I can say is, prompted by Martha's sharing, I think it's time that we speak out regarding issues that concern women and menstruation in our work environments. It needs to be conducive for us to work. You might not find the facilities area, of course. If you're going to the forest, it might be a bit of a challenge, but where we can, let us make that difference of availing menstruation management facilities for women in engineering. Thank you.
Wow. And yes, those were so many challenges that were voiced out by our guests. And I'm sure, everybody has learned a lot. I don't want to add anything. And yes, Mother is here. Mother, we saw you long time ago, and we appreciate your presence in this forum. And maybe, as requested, please share the article that you wrote and you were interviewed by Nation. Mother is also an electrical engineer. She'll also share her profile. Kindly connect with her on LinkedIn. And she's just a phenomenal lady engineer. And all the professionals who have joined, if maybe I might not be able to see exactly who's there, but we appreciate you. I think I've seen Gavoni, Madenges. Thank you so much for joining. So I want us to move a bit faster because I can see time is really, really gone. But this is what happens when, ladies are in one space, because we also are very talkative beings. This happens when we are able to share, and we share in details. So I just appreciate that you really, really still here with us. So I want to go to another, last question as we wind up and give some time to the students and the recent graduates to ask some questions. And I would ask, despite these challenges, how have you managed to thrive in the careers in engineering as a lady engineer? What values, what strategies, or what aspects, have enabled you to thrive in this space? And if kindly you can, just maybe 1.5 minutes for that, and then I will really, really appreciate. So we start with you, Lillian.
For me, I could say one of the things that has helped me is mentorship, and also knowing some women in the field. Oh my God, Kina Nora Magera. I don't know if she's here, but I hope she will be here. Anne Washera, Martha Wakoli.
Nora is here.
Oh, Nora is here. Martha Wakoli.
Yes.
Oh my God, these women, you, Winfred. Gosh, we meet a lot. So I can say mentorship has been one of them. I personally, when I was starting out, I had a guy who was actually really mentoring me when I was really starting out. But those challenges that that have been in the industry within Kenya, I can say the women in the field have really helped me understand some things that I really couldn't get. So I could say they've really helped me in going through this journey, and also coming to understand that I'm not the only one who's going through the same challenges alone. It kind of, it's fulfilling. I don't know if it's say misery has company, loves company, or something of that sort. But once you know that there are actually other women who are going through the same challenges that you're going through, and you get to brainstorm on how to solve these challenges, it has been fulfilling. I'd also say participating in other activities beyond what is in the workplace. And that is what has given me a lot of achievement, maybe, or even given me a name out there. Going for fellowships, applying for awards, applying for scholarships. I think it's also important that even for the students who are there, once you get out there, sometimes these opportunities may not come, the job opportunities may not come, but there are so many opportunities out there for you, especially if you're a woman in STEM. They may not be there here in Kenya, but they are outside there, that are outside Kenya, that are there for you. Whether it's scholarship, I've seen so many women who are here who've done their masters even outside Kenya, Kina Felistas and Zipo. I don't know who else. Yeah, she said that she's done her masters outside Kenya. So many opportunities are there for you. Fellowships are there. If you're in the energy industry, if you're still a student, Warrange is still there. I saw their application was actually still running. I think it's ending today. Make sure you apply for it. These are things that will help you. It will help you even in getting scholarships. It will help you even in getting awards and contributing also in the society. Just believing in yourself and knowing your worth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lillian, and thank you for also voicing out that there are so many opportunities, not just in engineering, but even fellowships. And maybe for the speakers and for all the professionals who are here, if you know of any opportunities currently or any resources or even websites that the students and the recent graduates can look at, please, you can just post them in the chat box. I will also compile this at the end and share most of these details in your emails. So thank you so much. And Felicitas, over to you. You can let us know what has made you thrive in this sector.
Oh, for me, I will also add, always look out for opportunities and never be afraid to try it out. Sometimes you find things being put on social media or even on LinkedIn, and you start thinking, oh, I'm not qualified for this, or I can't do this. But all you need to do is try. I always ask myself the question, what is the worst that can happen? What will I lose? Like, the worst that someone will do is reject me. But what if they don't reject you? So always try out. The problem with us ladies, we always think, oh, you look at opportunities and you're like, oh, I'm not qualified. I only have this and this. I don't have this. They're asking for this. But some of these people, they want you to just try. You ask, you try, and they're like, oh, okay, she's tried and she doesn't have this. Let me call her and find out why she feels she can do this and yet she doesn't have this. And you realize you are as good as anyone else and you can always improve on what you don't have. Like for me, even applying for my master's and just having the confidence to step out and go. I went for my master's in 2017. I left Ketrako, I was working, I had a good job, I had a good mind, I had a salary, but I stopped and I just stopped. I wasn't being paid. And I went ahead and got this scholarship, MasterCard Foundation scholarship. And I took up this opportunity to study in Rwanda. And most people are like, why are you going even to Rwanda? What is there? And I went there and I found that it was an amazing opportunity because this is a great university. It's a world-class university, a US university that has found a footing in Rwanda because Rwanda opened the doors for them. And through this, I met amazing professors, even in the worldwide. I met professors from the US, and I got the right connections, the right contacts, and I was able to go finish my master's in the US. And it was a great experience that is still helping me up to date. I still have these contacts. I still look forward to better opportunities in the future. It's not like I've settled, like I'm now perfect where I am, but I am always trying to improve myself. So never settle. Always look out for opportunities, try them out, don't undervalue yourself. Someone said, I can't remember who, but they say that women try out opportunities when they are 100% qualified, but men, I think it's around 50% qualified. Because men always want a challenge. They want something that they have not done and they're like, they want to try it out. But women want to be comfortable and feel like, oh, I am fully qualified for this, I can do this job. Please do not be that person because you can be better than yourself. You can always better what you don't have. I went there and I tried new things that I had never done. I did lots of data science projects that I am currently in my side hustle. I do a lot of data science stuff that I had never even thought about doing before I went for my master's. And also, you always keep these contacts, look out for them, network. Networking has also been helpful in the sector, or even among my former classmates, my friends, even Akna Winfred, Martha, all these people, they are in different field outside there, and they will always reach out. So please always keep your contacts, never throw away your contacts. And these are the things that will really help you to grow up in your career. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Felicitas. Teresia, over to you.
Thank you, Mary. So mainly 3 things have helped me. The values that I have used to help me overcome the challenges that I mentioned earlier are positivity, grit, and networking stroke having a learning spirit. I would like to call out to especially my civil engineers to even prioritize technical skills. Even that fundi in the village, even that fundi unapata hapo nje, they know so much. So let's not only be office bodies, let's also learn to do the work technically, so that we can be able to sharpen our skills. So learning from fundis, learning from foremen, learning from those people who really do the job has really assisted me in knowing the nitty-gritties of construction. The other things is positivity. I don't allow anything bad to affect my career. Like I like separating my personal life with my job. Like if anything has happened, like you have to show up and show a happy face, and you have to show up fully. And being able to separate those two is a very important aspect. And knowing that work and your personal life are 2 different things. That is on positivity. And no matter what happens, no matter what challenge you get, I dust myself up so fast and continue like nothing happened. But of course, you take the lesson that you have learned. The other aspect is grit. I like taking off the I'm a lady hat. I don't like going into somewhere and saying, oh, no, I'm a lady, you should give me, or I deserve this. I like working and proving myself and showing that I can do this, not because I'm a woman, but because I've mastered the skills that are needed in this field. So, and of course, networking. I love learning from anyone. Don't undermine anyone. There is an experience you can learn even from the person you don't think you would learn from. So I normally say every dot is interconnected. What you learn today, you might use it even 10 years from now. So keep learning, keep your eyes open, be flexible, and yeah, that's it.
Wow, that is good, Teresia. And Mary, kindly give us your insights on that.
Okay, I'll just quickly share 2 things. The first, there's this quote that I love and I refer to it all the time that says, be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. And for me, that's what I have. I keep reminding myself and following, what is it that sets my soul on fire? Be fearless in that pursuit. Like everyone else has said, whatever opportunities come, and you want to take them on, do not be afraid, take it on. And like the quote says, be fearless in that pursuit. So that's one for me, being fearless, not being fearless, but just being persistent. And yeah, putting back that fear of pursuing what I really want to do. The second, which I have gone by for a very long time, because it's something that my mom shares with me all the time. I remember growing up, and you have this huge pile of homework to do, and you can't figure out how you're going to get it done by the next day, and you're up late, trying to finish your math homework, your English homework, your Kiswahili homework, and all those other homeworks. And my mom would come, and she just never liked the idea of you overexerting yourself. So she'd come and she'd ask you, have you done your best? And you say yes. And she says, that's enough, go to sleep. To the extent that, sometimes it'd be like, but mom, the teacher will beat me. And she'd be like, tell the teacher to talk to me. But that's, but the underlying part is doing your best. So every time I'm working on something, and sometimes it can get overwhelming and tiring, But the underlying question I always ask myself is, have you done your best? And if the answer is a yes, I am settled and I am at peace in my heart with that. And I think that also helps you create a good work-life balance, so that you're not giving too much of yourself at the expense of your own, mental and physical well-being. So yeah, have you done your best? That's all that you need to do. Thanks.
Wow, I will not add anything. And thank you, Mary, for bringing in the aspect of, caring for yourself, even as a lady engineer, well-being and self-care, self-compassion is very key also in this journey. And now I want to take this opportunity to welcome the recent graduates and the lady engineering students who are courageous enough to ask questions. I want you to maybe, I had questions that I picked up during the registration, but most questions maybe have also been answered during this by the speakers as they continue to give their insights. So I had a question from Bijou Maura, and I think Bijou is here. Kindly, actually she has raised her hand. Kindly unmute yourself, Bijou, and ask the question.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for just sharing such amazing stories. Like, your personal stories have really shaped a new perspective on this whole career, and I'm so thankful for what you guys have been able to do today. So my question is actually about internships. What advice would you give to young lady engineering students who might be having difficulty securing internships, and particularly how to even determine which one is of value? Because sometimes I actually really valued like that part of, I believe it was Linda who was speaking about people who need to feel like you're valued. So how do you now determine a good position for yourself? All that type of stuff.
So maybe I'll ask Felicitas to respond to that on internships. What tips for securing internships? Because I'm sure she has something to say. Felicitas?
Okay, I don't know if I will give a really satisfactory response, because during my time, I'm one of those students who never managed to get an internship. So it was really frustrating. It was during a time when the University of Nairobi was not really strict on having internships before you graduate. But it was something I really struggled with, because going into the field where people were really getting opportunities out, and I had tried and I had applied and walked into offices, and I didn't really get an internship that I wanted. By that, I don't mean, okay, I worked for a while as an Equity bank, and I was working as a teller that time. I didn't really see that is something I valued for my career. So I did feel like it was something that's going to help me. At the end of it, probably it did, because it taught me these other skills that you get in the workplace. Yeah, but for students who are now looking for internships, I will just continue reiterating, continue trying, continue applying. And if you get options, then you can try and find out how the work culture is, what are the things they're working on. Is this something that is in your interest? And if it's not, and you get somewhere where it's in your interest, please take it up. And yeah, even if you get an unpaid internship and it's in a field that you really want to try, please go there and just get the skills you need. But also be very cautious about being used, as Lillian had said. If any of the panelists can really add on to that, it will be great.
Thank you, Felicitas. Maybe I will also say we will respond to most of the questions also on email, or maybe follow up by a call. And due to time, I think we'll just go with your response. Bijou, I know I can able to talk to you also, and also get the insights of other young professionals on that. I've seen, I'll give just an opportunity to 5 students. I've seen 2 more hands, and I'll give them opportunities. But before that, there was also a question a question from Liz Nyukuri. I don't know if she's in the call. Will the link to the recording be available? Yes, the link will be shared after this. I saw Bluebird also in the chat, maybe ask a question. And what books do you suggest that we read? Maybe if the guest speakers you have, or any other professionals in the call, if you have any books that these young students and recent graduates can read, you can reply to Bluebird. I'll also purpose to do that in the course of maybe the next 2 weeks to just give her feedback. And now I'll ask, I saw Beko Njonjo, if I'm not wrong, I'm not sure it's the right one. And then I saw Miriam Wanjiku. So I'll first start with Beko, then Miriam, then Muraguri, then Kathy, and I will close there. Okay, so Beko, if you're still there. Okay, Miriam, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you. Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes,
My question is, I'm an electrical engineering student, and then when we are applying for attachment, could you advise someone whether is it too early to specialize, or even as you're looking for attachment, like is it you can just go with anything that's under electrical engineering, or start going into deep electrical engineering and specialize and look for attachments that you want to specialize in later?
Okay, that's a good question, Miriam. Maybe I'm also an electrical engineer, and maybe in the panel it's only Felicitas who is there. I don't know if Mother is still there. I'm not sure if Mother is still there. Maybe she can also respond to that. Or maybe if she's not, we can, I don't know, I can pick it. Okay, I think maybe Mother is not in the call is now. So for me, I would say, okay, Mother can't unmute. Warren, is it possible to unmute
Okay, now
Mother?
I'm unmuted. Hi, everybody.
Okay, hi, Mother.
There we go. For those who don't know me, my name is Martha Wakoli. First, let me just start by saying congratulations, Wende. You did it. Well done. Okay, moving on to the question on internships. I think, and someone else mentioned this with regard to, I think it was Felista saying she got internships in a bank. It wasn't exactly what she was looking for, but she still took the opportunity. I think broadly speaking, my perspective has always been there's nothing that doesn't teach you something generally. So the idea then becomes, yes, it's good to have your heart set on certain things, but in the very early stages, my view is that you don't really know enough to recognize what you do know and what you do not know. So if you do get an opportunity to learn, even if it's in telecoms and you're doing heavy current, take it, because you'd be surprised at what kinds of intersections exist between heavy current and light power. Similarly, if you get an opportunity, maybe not in the industry you're looking for, you're interested in the energy sector, but you get an internship, let's say in other kinds of infrastructure, roads, or in machines in an industry, Mumias Sugar or something else that will be working at the time, take it, because many of the things that you learn, you carry with you into your next experience generally. So you'd find it helps you with a good foundation, to eliminate the things that you're actually not interested in, as the civil engineers talked about. They started in structures and figured out, okay, that's not for me. But also to pick up skills that may not be directly tied to the engineering itself, but that will be extremely useful as you grow your career. I think that's what I'd say.
Wow, thank you, Mother, for that response. And I think it's quite sufficient. For example, in my case, I know I did internships also in telecoms, in Safaricom and also in Airtel, but I ended up in Ketraco. So I think it's always good to grab the opportunity that you have. So I'll ask Muraguri Wambui, unmute yourself. And just Muraguri Wambui, ask the question.
How are you? Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. And my question is mostly about the scholarships, because is there maybe a platform you can advise us where you could apply for scholarship? And also maybe if, for instance, I'm a recent undergraduate and I've not worked fully into the sector for the civil engineering, but I'm not sure, like, which is the best advice to give someone to choose what master's program you would like to take. And also my second question is, how do you as an engineer, maybe in the future, or as you, how do you juggle between your life as an engineer and also as a mother? Thank you so much.
So thank you so much on the issue of scholarships and opportunities for masters. I think those opportunities are there. And I know maybe Mary Wambugu can also take that maybe for just a few minutes. But as I said, as you see in the end, I also said that we'll be able to share opportunities. I'll give you a way forward. So I would also maybe ask if we can be able to hold on for the scholarship and opportunities. We'll be able to consolidate something and share with you. And I've noted that Muraguri Wambui. And maybe I'll just respond on the part of how you jungle as a mother and as an engineer. For me, I would say I also saw a question that was asked initially, would disclosing that you are a mother at entry level compromise your opportunity? As most of my friends know, fellow engineers, is that I was expectant in my 5th year at the University of Nairobi. I did the all of 5th year while I was pregnant, and that did not really stop me. And I remember Lillian said that we should actually talk, and I'm just saying this because you're students and you're recent graduates. And despite me being heavy during that time, I still managed to do well in engineering, still managed to get a first class, which is for me then was something. For now, maybe it's not such a big deal because it's not a big deal anymore, maybe. So I think it's very, you can still disclose that you are still a mother. I don't think this is just, being a mother is a blessing. I don't think you would miss on any opportunities. I know when we were joining, there was a lady who was pregnant also, and she also managed to keep her job. She delivered and she managed also to come to work. She was still given the opportunity. So I don't think you should shy away from mentioning that you're a mother or you have a kid. And I don't think, I've not heard or maybe seen, or maybe if it's maybe a job that requires that you have to leave your child, or you have to work extra hours, or you're not there available for the child, for your child, then I think also you should be able to make a wise decision regarding to that. But I don't think you can miss opportunities because of declaring that you are a mother. So you had also asked something, Muraguri. I can't remember the other question, but I think there was a question on how fast should you go for your master's in your career. So I'll ask Mary to just say something on the master's part because she has done a master's in the UK. And I believe maybe anything we have missed will be answered in the subsequent forums or on a follow-up call. So Mary, if you have to say something on the masters.
Okay, I will give my response based on my own experience, but also put a disclaimer that this is not a cookie cutter answer that will fit all contexts. Probably, if you are still not sure what you want to pursue or what sector you want to specialize in for your even work-wise, probably what advice is maybe take some time in your employment field, because a master's it's intense. I won't lie to you. Our masters can be very intense and very engaging. It is not an end itself, just like your undergraduate is not an end itself, but it's a means, it's a tool that you can use for anything and everything. It's just a place to gain skills that you can apply widely. But if you're still at the point where you're probably not sure what exactly you want to specialize in, maybe take some time and try, like I think it was Teresia who had said, try new things, try everything in your field of work. Oh, these people are doing, mechanical engineering, even if you're a civil engineer, find out what is that about, because what you realize is that a lot of these disciplines are interlinked. And so you may not even go to do a master's in structures or in water. You may do something that is affiliated to mechanical engineering if you find that's your strong suit. But that said, even if you go and do your master's now, because maybe that is the opportunity that is being availed to you at this moment, which I cannot disqualify. Sometimes you go with what is being availed to you. And if it's a master's, even if you go there, remember that it is about acquiring skills and knowledge that you can apply widely and in various contexts. So don't feel that you are going to be boxed into that specific field that you go to specialize. If I can just touch briefly on scholarships, if you have applied to schools, this is something that I did, or I was advised to do when I was pursuing also scholarships for my studies. If you've applied to a specific school, just write an email to identify a professor or a lecturer in that department that you've applied. Write an email to them and tell them, hey, I'd like to pursue this program and I'm thinking about scholarship opportunities. What do you have for me? Reach out to, especially the universities outside, like I can speak for the UK, the staff there are very helpful and they're always ready to connect you with opportunities that may not even be there openly available, online, but they're the opportunities that they know about and they can be able to connect to you. So I'd encourage you, write that email to that professor or to that lecturer and tell them where you're at, and most likely that they're going to reply to you and help you out. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mary. Muraguri, I hope you answered, but still I'll get back to you. I would ask maybe Kathy Nekesa, you can ask your question.
Hi.
Kathy, are you? Okay.
Yeah, my name is Kathy. I'm a recent graduate from the University of Nairobi, and I just started working in Bomet. I wanted to know, after this forum, are there places where we can get mentors? Because that's something I've been thinking about for a while. I think you learn a lot from other people who've experienced different things, just the way we are learning from you. So is it something that's available after this? Is it something that we can follow up? Are there places that you can direct us to go? Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Kathy. And you brought up about something that is so important. And remember, as we started, we said one of the major barriers is lack of mentorship. And you're in the right forum. I'll be able also to reach out to you. And yes, there's a possibility of a mentor-mentee relationship from this forum. And I will be reaching out to you, Kathy. So you're in the right place and feel appreciated. So Mary Mudhoni, ask your question.
Okay, good evening. First of all, I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Winfred. I have first of all to confess that I'm not an engineer per se, but I had to sneak in and benefit from the wise counsel here. Mine is just a compliment and to say good job done, Winfred and the speakers. I've carried home 10 important points that are not only beneficial to new graduates in engineering, but to every other lady. And the most striking is be fearless in pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Maybe in the near future, Winfred, you can organize for something bigger for other people like us to benefit. At some point, I felt like I know nothing completely, and I'm kind of a mentor. Thank you, Teresia, for sharing. Yeah.
Wow, gosh, that is very good feedback. And I think I'll sleep satisfied after such feedback. And I'm so happy that you ladies are benefiting from this. I wish we had a lot of time. And yes, I will look into this. You realize when I wrote the time, I never wrote the time when we are going to finish because I knew there would be overwhelming response and questions, and I'm so happy for this feedback. And yes, I'll give you a way forward, and I'm so grateful. So the next question will go to Christine Osano, and after that, I think I will close the question and answer, and then in subsequent forums and on email or via call, we are going to respond to the questions. So don't go home with any questions. Okay, don't finish the meeting with any questions. So just post the questions on your chat box, and I'm sure to be able to compile them and also be able to reach to you. So Christine Osano, kindly let me give you the opportunity. Christine, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Christine.
Yeah, so my question was on the process for registration, like what is required. And then I wanted to ask more on, I'm a graduate, I'm on internship in Ketrako. I wanted to ask more on how do you move from like internship to an employment basis, maybe in the same organization or in maybe a different organization, because there's this scare of getting stuck in internship opportunities. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
Wow, thank you so much, Christine. And I have to appreciate, because Christine Osano is one of the lady graduates who made me do this forum. She really insisted that we need to do something for us recent graduates and engineering students. So I would ask Lillian, if you're there. Lillian Motongori.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Transitioning from internship to employment, you know, how can you talk about it? And also about registration. Registration of engineers. Personally, I'm just a graduate, registered as a graduate in at IBK and IEK. So if we have any professional registered engineer also in the forum, they can comment on this. You can let me know in the chat, and you can also comment on that. Yeah, but Lillian, you can answer on the transitioning from internships to employment, and then I can see your hand, and you will be the last one to close the question and answer section.
Okay, so first on transitioning from internship to employment, as I say, tell your skills. That is what is important. You know, weirdly, personally, after school, I didn't go to an internship. As I said, I got an opportunity, I had the privilege to be a consultant almost immediately for a project. And after that, now it opened up other opportunities for me. But I would say one of the best ways to transition from an internship to now an employment basis, because you'll also come to learn that some of these organizations actually don't value internship as work experience, by the way. Some of them, even when I was applying for a fellowship, there's one fellowship that actually didn't see an internship as a work experience, though it is good. So I would say first, get networks in that place. If you're within that same organization, that is the best place to actually move to employment basis. Get a network in that place, so that when they are asking for roles within that organization, they will hire you at first because you are more aware of the organization. So network is very, 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 very important for you to transition. Having a network within that place, knowing someone, it's very, very important. Another thing that I would say is another good way to get into employment basis. Weirdly, I was actually saying this today. I've realized that I've never gotten a job by job application online. Most of the jobs that I've actually got to work have been maybe me pitching myself to a company or pitching my idea to a company. or probably a company that heard of me online and they're like, oh, hey, Lilian, we heard of you. Could we work with you on this and this and this? That's how I've been able to get it. And that may not be the same to other people, but I've realized it's way better pitching yourself to a company than even applying for jobs. When the job applications, they may not have that opportunity then, but they will think of you the first thing when when they have a leeway, or rather there's an opening that comes in on board. Connect with recruiters. There are people who are called recruiters actually online. And in Kenya, it's HR people. Connect with them. Ask them, oh, you know what? I'm an engineering student. I've got to sell your skills. Say, I'm good at drawing. If probably you want to get into a design firm, connect with people who are within the design firm. Tell them, oh, I'm good at design. Don't just say, I have a degree. Say, what can you bring on the table? Or what is it that you want, you're good at? What is it that you can do? What is it? Or rather, you can also say, I want to grow my skills probably in policy, or I want to grow my skills in project management, and I see this organization is working on this. Could you give me an opportunity to maybe work with you? I will contribute this and these skills on board. Because people give opportunities where they feel, what are you doing to me? Not just what am I giving to you, but what are you going to bring in this organization? So I would say one best way to do that is pitching yourself. Apart from pitching yourself, show interest in a project. Show interest in something. Even me getting the consultancy I got to do, I showed interest in the project they are working on. And that's how I got to do work for a while, or rather volunteered for a while, before they now got to hire me and put me like now they're Kenyan point person or Kenyan focal person. So show interest in their project. It's more like the way you will hit on someone. So you're hitting on an opportunity in one way or another. You show interest in it. You show interest in it. You may volunteer for a while. As I say, have limits with that volunteer work, and you tell them, I've been able to achieve this. Now, could you kindly hire me for this and this role? And also another thing that I realized it's important, knowing someone, there's an important person within an organization that will be able to position you well. And once you get into any company, identify that important person who gets to have your back. Don't just go there. I know they say there's work alone and there's a family alone and all that kind of stuff, but also have someone who can always have your back. It is very, very, very important. Sometimes people go out there, you may be the best, but you may not get it just because there's no one who has your back within that company. So it's important to have someone for your back. Have that contact. It is very, very important. I guess that's all I can say. Maybe if there are other panelists or participants who would want to contribute on the same topic, they could assist. But I've seen there's someone who also typed there at the chats that there are opportunities by EBK and all that. But learn to pitch yourself. Pitch yourself, show interest in a project, sell yourself, and have someone within that organization that can have you back. And also online, put your skills online. When you get to work, put your skills. That's how people know you. The other people that have gotten to work with me that I didn't know or looked for me, they found me online. Put yourself out there. And I know some people there, and there are some participants who probably know me and we have probably never met because you've seen me on LinkedIn or you heard of me somewhere. And I'm not that very big. I'm also a very small person, by the way. I'm also starting up. I'm always working hard, but put yourself out there. We want to know you. The world needs more women engineers. We want to know you. So we can always
so much,
look up to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilian, for that insight. I believe the question was well answered on transitioning. And there are so many questions coming. Ladies, I want to actually beg you, I have to finish this in the next maybe 10 or so minutes, or actually 15 minutes if you allow me. So I can see your questions. Kindly post them in the chat box. Also feel free to message me. All the ladies you've seen in this panel and all the ladies who are participating as professionals are willing to answer you. Feel free to connect, and I'm sure that we will be able to also answer some of the questions. So Teresia has not talked for a while, and I'll ask Teresia as we almost close to answer this question that came from Emi Njeri. I also saw Emi Njeri in this forum. what is the best place to start your professional work in your early years after graduation? Is it government or is it in a private firm? So Teresia, just if you allow me kindly a minute to just respond to that, and it will be the last question we respond to. I know maybe I've closed so many. Okay, Ben, I'll call you then. Teresia, kindly ask to answer to that.
Thank you so much, Winnie. I don't know about other engineers, but I'll speak personally on behalf of civil engineers because that is the experience I've had. I would advise, if, for my personal opinion, I'd advise someone to start from private, maybe go to a consulting firm, learn the skills no matter how much, because of course the terms for both for private and government, they are very different. But if you want to get an in-depth knowledge, an in-depth practice, and experience, the best place to start is a private firm, especially a consulting firm, not contractors. But if you can start from a consulting firm and you do both the design and site work, that is the best place to start. Because in government, you learn a lot about policies, about project management. Yes, you will do supervision and site work, but it is not as diverse as if you had started from private. So it's the best place to start. You build your skills, you build your experience, especially in design, because when you're registering, that is a very important aspect of the transitioning into being a professional engineer. Yeah, so working with a consulting firm especially is very nice. Even if you are not able to start from there, it's good at one point in your life you are able to work with them, because you are able to put in more hours and more work, and you're able to learn more from a consulting firm. Yes.
Thank you, Teresia, and I feel that is what the same advice I would give. So I want to ask Ven. Ven, you're the last person. Kindly, it's because I made a promise. Ask your question, Ven.
Oh, hi. My name is Ven. So I wanted to say that we all know there is a discontinuity, like from campus to employment. So if, in the spirit of women supporting women, if there are any opportunities that you guys might have, and you need graduate engineers or internships that you need students for, if you could reach out, as we said, these opportunities, they're there, but people don't know about them. So if you can let us know, students and recent graduates, that would be really amazing, because some people don't know how to network. Some know how to network. You get out of campus or college and you have a job or an internship, but some people don't know how to do that. So if these opportunities, if like Winfred, you can share them, it will be easier for these people who don't have a network of people to get in touch with, to get to know about these opportunities.
Thank you so much, Ben, for that insight. And as I said, I will package opportunities, and continuously in this forum, we might also decide to have just an opportunity sharing and a resource sharing forum where we just not, it's we are aiming at different objectives. So we can also plan a forum for this. And I believe if you're here, I'll also reach to you on email, and I'll be able maybe to share any opportunities I have. Reach to the professionals who are in this forum, and I believe they'll also be able to share opportunities, because I believe there are opportunities out there that can be leveraged by lady engineers. And that marks the end of the question and answer, not because there are no more questions, but I've seen them come in. I've seen Rita, so many questions. I've seen Gladwell, Shege, many questions in my inbox. I can't keep up, and I'm so happy you ladies stayed till this time. And please don't leave. Just give me a few minutes of your time. And as continue looking in the chat box, I can see also there is a lot that is being shared there. Please don't miss anything, in as much as I'm going to compile a feedback from this meeting. So I want to ask Warren, ladies, as Warren projects, I'm so happy that you're finding this useful. And for the professionals who supported, I've seen you in the conversation. I'll reach you with my Thanksgiving. For the guest speakers, thank you for your time. It has been over 2 hours, and I'm really, really appreciating, and I believe we are all benefiting from this. I've learned a lot, and I believe this is really useful. So if this is the way forward after this forum, if you go to the next slide, just the final slide, only one slide. So many might be asking, what could be the way forward? First, I plan to create a Give It Us platform. For you, for those who do not know Give It Us, you can Google. It's a help-seeking and giving platform, an opportunity to share opportunities and resources. So when this happens, I'll be able to communicate to those who registered and those who joined the conversation. I plan to do a follow-up together with the speakers and all those who are willing, a follow-up for unanswered questions on email or via call. A link to this meeting recording will also be shared. I also plan to have engineering field-specific interactive meetings. You've seen that we also have a lot of civil engineers, electrical, we have different fields. So once in a while, we'll be having these forums, but engineering specific, where we can exhaust all the questions from the different engineering fields. We also plan to request for a detailed feedback on how to better this forum. There's also a possibility of mentor-mentee relationships from this networking forum. And also, kindly, I would want to ask the recent graduates and the engineering students and also the professionals who are here to share takeaways from this forum with other students and recent graduates. Don't keep it to yourself. That is it, Warren, for the takeaway. And I believe we have all been able to capture this takeaway. The way forward, I will also bring that out in an email in the coming. So I think you've all appreciated this meeting, and I'm so grateful. And I really wanted to ask the speakers to give a message of advice. So since this is still a few minutes, maybe 30 seconds for each guest speaker to give one piece of advice to all the graduates and to the recent graduates who joined, and to the students, sorry. Lillian, 30 seconds.
For me, I would say believe in yourself. Even if you think you don't have experience, you may have leadership skills. You are enough. You're enough, and don't look down on yourself. Go for those opportunities that are out there for you. Go for them. If you know you can do it, because you can do it. There's a reason why you did engineering, meaning you're capable. So even out there, the jobs that are out there, and you think, wow, I cannot do this, or I'm not so experienced for it. Trust me, you will find probably even 90% of people applying are not that experienced as you think they are. So go for it. The least you can get is a no. Thank you.
Thank you. Believe in yourself and go for it. Felicitas, your message in 30 seconds.
Okay, so mine is just to encourage you guys not to give up. Always try out and never be afraid of failure, because it's only through failure that you know where you can improve on and where you need to work more in. Everything you learn is an added opportunity to your skill set. Always look out for these opportunities and try out as much as you can. Thank you.
Wow, do not be afraid of failure. Remember, we passed through failure on our way to success. Teresia?
Thank you so much for this interactive forum. I've really enjoyed learning from you all. So my two take home points are the world does not owe you anything. You've got to step up your game. You've got to show up. You've got to approach those big people. Send that DM in that LinkedIn person of that big person. You never know where your breakthrough will come. And then number 2 is you invest in your social skills. Know how to communicate. When you're going to pitch for your skills, tell them what you are bringing on the table. So really invest in your social skills and know how to communicate your goals and what you expect from a company that you are looking a job from. Thank you.
Wow, that is indeed 30 seconds. And thank you so much, Teresia, for that feedback. Mary?
Because this forum was tailored for recent graduates and students, I want to address them specifically. I know you're all eager to, practice what you have studied, and that is great. And I definitely hope that you get that opportunity. But I also want to encourage you, like I said earlier, your degree or your education is a means, it's not an end in itself, meaning that you can use it for anything. Like Lillian has said, you have done engineering. That means you can do a plethora of other things. So be open to explore what can I apply my engineering degree towards. And I'll encourage you to go for those opportunities, and I wish you every best.
Thank you so much. And for me, my message of encouragement is you can make it. You are equal to the task. Welcome to the engineering space. And also, I would want to say extraordinary women complement each other and cheer each other towards greatness. Please support your fellow women. Don't be competitive. There's enough space in the sky for us to fly. So thank you so much. So I'm here now to give my vote of thanks. I'm so happy. I'm so satisfied tonight. As I said, I'm passionate about mentorship, and this has been a form of mentorship. First, let me thank the Almighty God for making this possible. Let me also thank the panelists, Teresia, Mary, Felicitas, and Lillian, for accepting to come to this forum, even though it was also on a short notice. And I so appreciate your perspectives and insights. Let me appreciate all the young professionals who have joined in to just maybe give us feedback, and all my good friends, all our fellow lady engineers. I can't mention, because if I mention, then I'll miss someone and I'll feel bad for having missed one of you. So thank you so much. Your presence has been noted and it's well appreciated. All the recent graduates who pushed me to do this, I'm so happy that you gave me that force. Christine Osano, Christine, Zisa, Donna, and everyone who assisted in this and spreading the word. All those students who shared this with their fellow students. I know I shared to a number of you to just share with you. Students and recent graduates, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for spreading the word. And I'm sure that, the forum, I think we have been like around 95 at some point, and the numbers kept coming down. For those who registered, I'll still send the link to them so that they can also learn about this. So I'm so happy, and thank you for saying that you require this forum oftenly. I want to promise, but I'll not promise as yet. I'll plan towards that, and also following on the feedback on this and exhausting all the questions from this forum, I'll tell you on the way forward. And look out for your emails if there's another forum with a different objective, then I'll also be reaching out to you to attend this forum. So what else can I say than God bless you. May God bless your journey as engineers, as you purpose to venture in this space that is both rewarding and challenging. I wish you all the best, and I'm sure somehow, somewhere we'll meet in this career. So feel free to leave, and it has been 2 hours, 30 minutes. And what can I pay you for your time? I can't pay anything. I can only say, you're blessed and you're favored to have been here. So see you next time.